menace to sobriety. Just a menace, just a menace, just a menace.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety with your host with the most, and I don't mean to boast, it's me, Dan O'Reilly, aka the comedian that will last. Taking a day off the funnies, well there might be some funnies, you never know, to talk all things well-being, mental health, sobriety and good vibes, man. Listen, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's still with me on this journey. I don't know how many, I think we're coming up to 50 podcasts or something like that. If you've watched every single one, let me know in the comments. The audio numbers are flying. They're like 20,000 audio downloads a week. It's absolutely insane. So if you're listening, I love you. Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching, sharing's caring. We need to keep these numbers going on YouTube. Listen, I've got a great guest here for you. Before I get into it, I just want to say that, yeah, man, I'm loving the journey on the podcast, and I'm just looking for people that got inspiring stories that might be relative, that people out there that can relate to them, that have overcome certain things and found a way to share the positive stuff they've pulled out of their negativity. That's what this is all about, connecting and sharing with you guys and giving you some tips, hints on how to better your life. So, without further ado, motivational therapist.
Yes.
I'm introducing our motivational therapist today, Carl Crowley. Hello.
Now then, how's it going? Long
Good.
time no see.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll tell you what, this is mad. Since I've been doing this podcast, I've had all types of people reach out to me, but we've actually met before.
We have met before. Do you want me to get the picture up?
I don't know if have you got a picture?
Yeah, I can quickly get the picture.
Because you actually used to do comedy online, didn't you? What was it called?
It was Mr. Awkward.
Mr. Awkward.
Mr. Awkward, yeah. And to be honest, I used to do comedy sketches. I used to play like a guy called Camp Gary and stuff like that. And it just got it got a little bit weird, if I'm going to be honest. But
yeah.
There it is, if anyone can see.
Can we see? Yeah, let's see if we can get that in there.
All right, let's go to other way down.
Other way this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this, if I think I can remember, is when was that? 2000 and have you got a new haircut since then? Because you've got you were bald back then, weren't you?
No. I had thick locks, but I've had a transplant.
Oh, sorry. So I feel bad now. But yeah, man, I'm definitely there drunk. But what's the story behind that?
Well, to be honest with you, since I'm allowed to say what we actually met up for was, I used to be obviously pretty big in the Hull area, and when you was doing a guest appearance, I managed to get in contact with him. I was getting you some bugle.
There you have it.
And that's the truth. That's the truth. And obviously, things have gone a lot further since then. And we've been like majority in contact, but you've done your own thing.
Yeah. No, but that's that always, look, there's no old bars on it. We like the honesty, mate. It's all about that. And that's what it was like. I was doing like something mad, like 40 something appearances a year, man. It was like one a week, 2 a week sometimes. And Hull was, I always used to be in Hull because they got so many nightclubs there.
I stopped drinking, and I don't know, but yeah, it is.
Yeah, and wherever I used to go, I used to think, who do I know in this town that can get me some bugle? And obviously you were that guy.
Yeah, well,
I don't think you did get it for me though, did you?
I didn't. I didn't. No, we arranged. To be honest, I think I took the opportunity up because as soon as the question was asked, I was like, oh my god, I follow him. I like his. I'm gonna say now, he was a big inspiration to me for getting into comedy. Yeah. So like. I want to thank you, mate, honestly.
Yeah, thank you. I hope I wasn't an inspiration for you getting into the bugle, though, was I?
No. The comedy actually got me onto the bugle.
Oh,
I'm
right.
going to be honest, and it got me onto being an alcoholic. But
let's go into that. Let's talk about that now that we've set the scene. We've got a bit of history, me and you.
Yep.
You've obviously been following my social media for a long time. Like you said, it inspired you to do the comedy and stuff like that. But tell me about your story. Where did it all begin for you?
Watching you on Vans, that's where it first began. I went through a stage of, I thought I was funny.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when you start doing social media and you start getting a lot of following and likes, and I went through a lot of childhood trauma. So for me, I was playing up to everybody else's expectations. So I was, whenever somebody said, oh, gotta do that and let's do this, I was so stupid. It cost me a marriage, it cost me everything. So I used to just play up to everybody because I needed to feel wanted. That was my biggest problem, and I don't know if if you've ever experienced that. But the more I got bigger on social media, the more I became more, obviously, like I said, drug induced, more alcohol induced, and my life just like sort of spiraled out of control. But in my head, in the way I was thinking, it was the best thing.
It was all part of it.
Yeah, it was all part of people coming up to me and like taking photos, or do you want to come in here for free, and do you want to come do this gig and this charity event? And I honestly, I got lost with it. And but if I'm going to go from the beginning, Dan.
Let's talk. Yeah, let's go right back. Tell
Right.
me what you mean by trauma and what was your upbringing like?
Well, I was taken away from my family from the age of 13 years old. I was taken all over the place. I'll say, like, obviously in different housing estates, different settlements, I'll call it. And I ended up in a place called what's called the Hull Resettlement Project, which is a hostel.
Right.
It's like a child hostel. My first ever sort of trauma was obviously becoming homeless and taken away from my mum.
Yeah.
Because I never had a dad. But the thing that really started the triggering is my girlfriend. When I was in Hull Resettlement Project, her name was Sammy Wilkinson. She died with a drug overdose and alcohol. And
How old were you then?
I was about 15.
I can tell that still hurts you now, man.
I was about 15 when that happened, and from that point, because I didn't have a dad, if I start going off on different tangents, please stop me. My granddad, he forced me to go in the army, believe it or not. And while I was there, obviously I was very, very, very depressed. I was still playing up to the ego side of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what that's got me about, Sam?
Yes, come on, mate. Come on, man. Go on, have a little moment.
Yeah,
have a little moment, mate. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's probably been a while since you've spoken about that, has it?
Do you know what? I suppress?
Yeah.
I suppress quite a lot.
Of course.
And
Of course, let's take a second then, mate. Let's just take a second. That's okay, mate, because I'm the same. They're like old wounds, they're like old scars that still got a scab on them, and when you just rub them, they come up. So just take a second. It's all right, mate. Yeah.
you know what? When one of the reasons why, because I have my kids 4 nights a week, one of the big things which when my daughters are unwell or sick, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
Like even now, even though I've learned everything I've learned, Dan, if my daughters are unwell, I sit on the landing, mate, and I stay awake.
Yeah,
because that
you've seen what can happen.
all choking in a sick, mate.
God.
And waking up and obviously finding out your girlfriend's died during the night, and that, mate, that still scares me.
I can tell that it broke you, mate. And have you had therapy about it?
I had 6 months of intense counselling near to the end of my complete destruction, because if not, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
100%. I know 100% I wouldn't be here, because that triggered, I'll say, a suppressive mindset, if I'm going to be honest, where I was forced in the army, and while I was in the army, I met my ex-wife, who we obviously were together for 17 years. But when I came out the army, after I tried to take my own life,
in the army.
In the army, yeah, because mate, I'm only little. Well, I'm a lot better than what I was, but I used to get bullied quite a lot. So I was very defensive, and I got jailed because of going AWOL. I came home, obviously attempted suicide again. And from everything that happened, the only person, the only man that ever truly loved me was my granddad, because I didn't have a dad. And the hardest thing was, I remember I organised a barbecue, and I organised to go to my granddad's at 3:00, and I went there, and I knocked on the door just as normal, and he heard a bang. And obviously me being a stupid 18, 19-year-old kid, I just looked for the window, couldn't see anything. And I went home. Everybody was scared of my granddad. He was a vicious, bit of a vicious man. And I had to go back and break in later on in the night. And not many people's going to know this. Well, they will now. When I broke in, I found him face down, as if he, when I knocked on the window, I scared him. And, and he must have faced.
You don't know that, mate. You don't know that.
But when the post-mortem came back, mate, this is probably one of the hardest things. Is the post-mortem came back. I was there at 3:00, and he died at 3. So the only man that ever truly cared about me, I felt for years it was my fault he wanted here, you know. And
oh, mate. This is tough, man. This is a lot to cover at the beginning. Take a second, my brother. Take a second. It's real tough, man. And you can't blame yourself. You can't blame yourself for that. When it's someone's time, it's their time. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't. You can't hold on to that too much. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's every time because I'm a very big spiritualist now, a big believer in things. It was always a trauma. It was always something, and I've never hated anybody as much, right, as I hated me, and I genuinely like.
You just kept thinking, oh God, this keeps happening to me. It's me. Yeah.
Well, when you go through like sort of this childhood, like my ego was absolutely massive. Like I was blocking out what was really going on, and I kept on focusing on trying to obviously be something I'm not.
Yeah.
I was trying to be something I'm not.
I can relate to it so much.
And from, like I say, when I went through that scenario, and I started obviously following you, and obviously I followed a lot of people, but I started doing the drugs and the alcohol. Like, my life just completely fell apart. I ended up losing my wife, who, like, she used to tell me all the time, like, you're playing up to your mates, you're doing this, you're doing that, and me being brainwashed and stupid, I was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, leave me alone. But it wasn't. She was the only person, right, out of everybody, because even my family, like, just left me.
Yeah,
all of them just like left me, and I know they're gonna see this, but this is the truth, how it made me feel. Yeah. Like, it made me feel like I was worthless. No dad. Obviously, my girlfriend died next to me. I found my granddad, who passed away. I walked in like, to my mate who was in the army. Him took his own life. And it was just like...
Oh, man, tough. Real tough, man. That's real tough stuff. And look, I just want to take a... Yeah, I know. Take a second. Take a deep breath, mate. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that's coming up. When was the last time you spoke about all this stuff?
3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago, because the turning point was I got stabbed.
This guy's story, man. It's like Rise of the Foot Soldier, right? But what? There's no ending, no happy ending. It's the worst.
It's honestly, like, there was somebody breaking into my van, I promise you, and I ran out and I grabbed hold of this kid, and
I shouldn't laugh. After everything that's happened to you, go on.
I always, because for some unknown reason, I always felt as if, like, I'm just unlucky. I am just unlucky. But I ran out and grabbed this kid, and I was holding on to him, and I was like sort of choking him out. And he stabbed something at my hand, and I didn't think anything. I've got the photos. I'll show you the photos after this. You won't be able to put them on there. He slashed my hand, but as I stood up, his mate ran over and hit me over the head with a crowbar. Oh. So, but that's not the worst thing. The thought that killed me, and it's on camera. I've got the video footage. They run away and they came back, and because I was laid there for 20 minutes not moving, they picked me up and carried me like in a king's chair and threw me in a ditch.
What?
Threw me in a ditch, like round where mine is, about 150 meters away from my house is.
Because they thought they killed you.
Yeah, because they thought they killed me.
Scroats, man.
And honestly, even
what happened to them? Did they get done?
Nothing.
Never found them.
Never found them. Got away with it. And from that was like.
That's trauma in itself, mate. That's bad trauma.
At that point, I'd lost my wife. I'd lost my kids. I had a girlfriend, and she my heart. That happened. I spent a week, Dan, in hospital. Not one visitor. Not one visitor. Not even a text.
John, this is sad, isn't it?
Very sad.
Oh, mate, it's breaking my heart, man. I don't want to cry because I want to support you, mate. I want to support you, but Jesus Christ, man, that's tough.
The thing is, like, what people don't understand is, like, I've been very emotionally suppressed. So, like, I was very volatile. I was very aggressive. Yeah. Not physically aggressive, but social media aggressive. Like, anyone said anything, I was very vocal. Obviously, I had an inferior complex where if any woman, any man, anybody said anything, I'd just shoot. Like, I'd attack them.
Yeah, I was the same, mate.
I had no emotional control.
Yeah. Well, look, just like, there's a lot that I can, obviously your trauma and everything, I'm going to give you a time to decompress, so just take a few breaths and relax. I'm just going to talk to you for a second. But I can relate a lot to how you're saying, like, that acting up, the ego. When we feel like we've been rejected by everyone, we want people to like us, right? And to say they like us. And social media, for me, it was the same thing. Social media can be the best and the worst thing for you, because you can get instant reactions from people, and you can get addicted to those likes, and you can create an online profile or an online persona, like I did, very similar. But when that turns on you, and it's not always positive, it can be the most hard thing, because what we actually do, like you're saying, is that your ego is from the rejection of being a child, from, you know, I had a traumatic upbringing as well. And what we do is when we're children is we create the ego. It's like a safety blanket. You know, we turn ourselves into someone else that can handle the world.
Yeah.
You know, someone else, and not the small scared little boy. We turn ourselves into, woo, yes, I'm f***ing this, I'm that, I can do this, I'm funny, I'm confident, and we create this alternative ego, which protects us as we get older. But the problem is, and I found this now as well, a lot, and this is what I'm working on. I'm reading a book about ego because I'm so into it.
Yeah.
I'm so into it because my whole career and everything, it's all ego driven.
Yeah.
But it can get you in so much. And it's the worst, like you say, responding to negativity and people and stuff like that. What it is if you create ego and you actually think you're this special thing, you know, like for instance, for me, like if I actually believed the hype behind what I did in my mind, if I'm like, I'm big, I'm famous, I'm this comedian, I'm special, I'm the chosen one or whatever, what happens is when someone just goes, mate, that wasn't funny, and you're a dickhead and you're a bit of a twat, because you're this thing, you're like, how dare he? And then you look down on people and you're like, how dare he not worship me? Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%.
It gives you this weird like complex of, I am the almighty Dan, you know what I mean? And you're just like, when actually really, if you were just yourself, you just go, yeah, all right, I'm just blagging a living here, leave it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Who cares what people say? That's the truth. But it's so hard, and it's a coping mechanism.
Well, it's like what I've discovered now, because even though I have gone through all this, massively turned it around, and I'll be able to share everything with you, because I got to a point of 17 stone 6, Dan. And
Wow, what are you now then?
11 stone 4. Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, I know. I was a balloon.
What? No,
And
I didn't recognise you. Yeah.
Well, you looked at me and it was like,
Yeah.
no, but I
look
honestly, my face was like really. I'll say, like, when somebody's got like a gin nose, and you know what I mean. Or you could say a drug nose or whatever. But I was overweight. I'd attempted to take my life again. So obviously I was losing. I lost my kids, lost everything, and I got onto a book, right? And I'm not plugging him here, but obviously
Go for it. I love talking about the books that changed my life.
Yeah.
You've got to.
Well, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of it?
No. But I know David Goggins.
Yeah, well, one of the books which I got onto that, and obviously when I got my kids took off me, the social services were saying to me, I need to have counselling, I need to have therapy, I need to have.
Why, if you don't mind me asking, why? If you don't mind going into it, why did they take him off you? Was it because you were?
I was an idiot.
And was it because of the
yeah, I think it was. Well, I know
you were unstable.
I was very unstable. My ex-wife, even though I couldn't see it, and she was trying to protect the kids, in my head I was
blamed her, of course.
Yeah, of course. Like I acted out a character, and me and my ex-wife got on like we're really good friends now. She's got a really good partner and a really good role model. But I used to act out. I was emotionally disinged. I'll call it emotionally disinged. Where I'd always think she was trying to do something to hurt me, but she wasn't. She was protecting them.
Yeah.
I was like, in my head, I was like, you're fucking taking the kids away from me. Who do you think you are? You know, like, why are you doing this to me? And it wasn't even that.
This is so important, the conversation that we're having now around this, because I was the same. I had in my mind when we got married, and after we got married, when we were breaking up, me and Shelley were breaking up because of my drink and drug use, and like, you know, I was like freaking out and screaming and shouting and, you know, whatever, losing my head on the come downs, you know, at home. And my mind straight away went, oh, well, this was the big plan. You wanted to marry me to get half, and now you break up, right? Yeah. And so many men out there, I just want to reach out. Like, it's so good that you can look back now and you can go, wow, she was just protecting the kids. Because imagine what it would be like for us as men if the woman was like emotionally unstable, more than normal. I just got to put that in there. But jokes, obviously, we're all but yeah. But stop. But yeah, and was like drinking, using drugs, and then like we don't realise what we're like, and then the erraticness. So lads, there's a little thing out there to concentrate on. But go on.
Accepting accountability.
Exactly that.
One of the biggest things, right? I have learned there's always passive aggressive in any relationship, which I noticed. Like my ex-wife would say, if you want like this or you want like that. And like I said, my emotional reaction, because I was unhinged, was just like, who are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Yeah,
but then once like I cut the alcohol out, and once I started reading, obviously, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, I got assigned 6 months, right? 6 months counselling. I had 6 months intense weekly counselling. And while I was doing these counselling, I had social services saying to me, you need to do a perpetrator course. I was like, I've done nothing wrong. And they was like, you need to do a perpetrator course. You need to do a child protection course. You need to do this course. And in my head, even though I've still a bit of an ego, I was like,
you're just trying to stop me seeing it.
Yeah, that's all it was. But in my head, I was like, no, I'll beat you. No, you won't beat me, because this is one of the things about me and Dan, and I can see it in you. And one of the things is I don't, even though I've tried to give up now, like when I started reading, like obviously the book and listening to other different podcasts, and like there's a book called Unfuck Yourself. It's a really good book. I'll send you the link. And there's different variation and I was like, no, I'm going to study this. And they was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, no. I'll do the courses myself, love. I'm not going to do any courses that you want me to do. So in my head, I did obviously relationship psychology diploma, processor psychology diploma, mindfulness diploma, child awareness diploma. I did depression counselling for kids diploma, depression counselling for adults diploma.
You're a diploma addict now.
Well, I've got it works out as NAN. I've also done a life coach. I've done a coach with Jordan Peterson. Well, not with him, but an online Jordan Peterson course. And I'm doing my master's degree now in depression. So
wow.
When I say to you, like, and I'm still scared of me. Let me just make this clear, like for anybody out there, like you can get like to a position where you feel amazing. But the biggest person, like anyone, when you get to this point, anyone says all this shit about you, because you'll have ugly heads raising like up from your past who don't like the fact that you're changing. Yeah. And they remind you about the shit. Oh, don't forget you did that. Don't forget you did this. And it's like, well, yeah, no, I did that, but I'm not that person anymore. What are you holding me hostage for? So even now, when we've made mistakes, even like after this podcast, I know for a fact I'll see it in the comments. I'll see it's loads of stuff like, he's done this, he's done that. And I get that. But nobody punishes me more than me.
Yeah.
Nobody holds me accountable, Dan, more than me. And nobody hates me more than me. So now, like, one of the things what you mentioned about, you get this persona and like you live in this cloud nine. Now I do punish myself every day. Like run 6 miles in the morning. I ice bath. I constantly am studying, don't drink, don't socialise. One of the biggest punishments, which if I was to say to you, Dan, you're not allowed to socialise for the next year. Yeah, like you're not allowed to go anywhere for the next year, and you've just got to study, and you've just got to keep yourself to yourself, and you've just got to work hard. Would you really want to do that? Like, you'd be like,
it's tough.
Yeah, you'd be like, no, I don't want to, because not many people. When I try and like explain to them, because like I say, I'm a motivational therapist now, and I do CPD meetings, Hull College, HMM prison.
Wow.
I've been in different places. I've even been booked in for the police service, homicide police service. So I'm going to be going in and talking to people about self-care, self-worth, and what do you do? What sort of plans have you got? Like, what do you look at? Because one of the biggest things, Rich Dan, which everybody says to me, everybody fears about today what they was fearing about yesterday, but they're actually living today. It's like that's thinking.
I get it.
You get it.
So yeah.
Everybody always worries about tomorrow, but when they're actually in there tomorrow, it's like, what was I worrying about? Like, what I was worried about this. So when people live holding on to the past, which a lot of people do, they're holding on to depression, mate. And I know we've just spoke about it, and I'm gonna be honest, it does still hurt. Like,
yeah, I just want to jump in because I get it's crazy what happens to us, you know, when we go through everything, and then you're just a perfect example. You go through everything, you start to see light, or you start to see like a tiny bit of positivity on the other side, and you're like, I want to learn everything about this. I want to do everything about this. And it's like for so long you've been suffocated with the wrong coping mechanisms, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what I think is really important is you know how you're like how you're like saying, you were saying earlier, like you're suppressing, and I can tell that now when there's different things that are painful, right? Stuff that happened to you is painful, so when you think about that, it hurts, and then how you acted out because of what happened to you is painful. All the things you've done wrong, you know, losing your kids and da-da-da-da. But we can get to a place, which I can see you get to a place where you go, right, okay, you know, that was me then, this is me now. And like you say to yourself, you know, no one will hate me like I hate myself. I'd prefer to put that like no one will hate me like I hated myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like how we hated ourselves, because I hated myself for a long, so did you. That's why you'd abuse drink and drugs. Yeah. Because as soon as you had to sit with yourself, right, that's the pain, innit?
That was the scariest part, mate. That was the scariest part. And one of the things which I want to mention, which obviously I hope that you could, if you don't know this, like sort of saying, and or anybody who knows this saying, is I used to say to myself, if it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right? I used to say that, and I know a lot of my mates say that, but I've changed that, and I've changed it to I'm here to make sure my kids don't suffer like I did.
Oh, I love that. That's so important.
So if any man's out there and you're struggling and you've got that mindset, it's like, if it weren't for my kids, I wouldn't be here. I want you to turn it around and say, nah, I'm here to make sure that they don't suffer. Because I've just, in the last 4 months, mate, obviously, this is another thing you're going to be shocked about. I've lost one of my friends to, obviously, ill health, and 3 to suicide.
What?
In the last 4 months. In the last 4 months, I wasn't directly in contact with him, because if I was, I promise you, I would have saved him. I promise I would have saved him, and that's why I speak to everybody. And my OCD is like, are you all right? What are you doing? I'm a bit of a weirdo when it comes to that, but 4 mates, man.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think men are taking their own lives?
Do you want me to be honest?
Yes.
I think it's the suppression and the narrative from obviously the government and all the bull. If I'm going to be serious, because men are not taught how to express themselves. And let me just make one thing crystal clear, because I've done a lot of studies when it comes.
You just talk, mate. Be passionate.
Yeah,
yes,
well,
fine.
I've done a lot of studies, especially with a guy called on Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks about epigenetics, mind control, neurolinguistics, and stuff. And one of the things I've known about men is we don't know how to express our emotions. So when a man actually starts kicking off and shouting, that's a man crying. If you think about it, when a man starts kicking off and he's going, what are you on about? What are you doing? It's like, a minute, that's how he knows how to emotionally react. He's never been taught. Did anyone pull him aside and go, right, now when you're really emotional, you've got to cry, you've got to sit down, you've got to express yourself. Men don't get taught shit. So when a man kicks off and starts swearing, if you would internalise it and think about it, that's a man crying. And I know it's not a best reaction, and I know it's not a good reaction, but going along the lines of it is like, men at this moment in time, we've been brainwashed to not cry. Stop, well, get up, what you been before, stop doing this, stop doing that. And then we've got to this sort of society now where if a man reacts emotionally, toxic, narcissist, you're misogynist, you're everything. So a man dare be emotional. A man's scared to be emotional. And if he is emotional, which comes across as anger and erratic because he hasn't been taught how to explain himself or show his emotions.
He's just called a nuisance.
Yeah, he's just called misogynist, narcissist. So men are now double, and I mean double, afraid to express themselves.
So you're not allowed to have feelings, but you're also not allowed to suffer the consequences of not having feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And when you think about it, that's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
It really is. And I think there's also I'm a massive believer in that we have not been taught how to cope. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the big thing for me. It's like, if I knew, if say for instance, when at some point in my life when I was a child, someone took me inside and said, right, listen, because you come from you saw things when you were younger and you went through a rough divorce with your mum and dad and and it's quite an erratic growing up. You may in the future seek to comfort yourself and escape life through addiction. You may find it hard to express your emotions, or as men, even if as men we were taught at some point, this is right, this is the right way to express your emotions, talk or if there was more men's mental health well-being taught to us as kids,
absolutely,
then it would reduce it. And also I think watch out for this behaviour. Watch out for this behaviour. Yeah. So do you find yourself drinking on your own when you've had a really tough time? Do you find that you feel better when you drink and use drugs? And watch out for these signs, because I didn't know none of that. I was just like, it's good to drink and do drugs. Man.
Yeah. Well, when you're doing it, you think it's sort of the in crowd, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you're going through that stage. But I've seen so many people's lives, Dan, ruined by drugs. I lived in a misguided delusion of get off my head, get drunk. And when I say drunk, I used to drink Monday to Friday about a bottle of gin a night, if not more. And then on weekend, 3 or 4 bottles, and I'd just get bugled off my bonds. And I didn't even acknowledge it. I thought it was, I thought that's what life was about. Yeah. But then after, like I say, 4 attempted to obviously delete myself, and realising that if I did do that, it wouldn't benefit anybody but cause more pain. And this is one of the things, as when people are at that point, please, I don't know which one I'm looking at, please don't ever think that's the best option, because the hole you leave on the people that you love is so great. So like if I'm going to put all my like links all over social media if anybody wants to talk to me. Obviously I do involvement with the whole college, a counselling department. There's a woman called Carrie Holden there. She's main counsellor. She's amazing. She's like my tutor. And one of the things is don't give up, mate. Yeah. And that's one thing I wanted to put out on here. So I do apologise for just changing the subject. So
no, that's all right.
Just to quickly follow up on that, we'll put all the resources in. But if someone is feeling at their lowest point right now and they're thinking about that, what's the first thing you advise them to do? Is there someone specifically to reach out to?
Personally, I'd always recommend, because until I'm fully qualified, I'd always recommend you need to speak to a doctor.
Okay.
You need to seek medical advice. I try and avoid any form of antidepressants, because I know they're very, very addictive, and once you get on antidepressants, it goes like a vicious cycle. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that's not the best thing to do if you're not able emotionally or mentally able to do. But contact your doctor. There is a group called Relate Counselling, which they do free counselling sessions.
That's amazing.
So, and then there's a company called Let's Talk, which obviously they're up and down the UK, and they do as well. So they do you an assessment. It's on the phone. So if anybody's obviously worried about speaking out, especially lads, they do an assessment over the phone. You tell them the truth. You tell them what's going on, and then they like say 20 sessions, 10 sessions, but also Andy's Man Club.
Andy's Man's Club, it's brilliant. I haven't been, but I met the founder of that, and yeah, man, I'm going to try and get along to a couple of them myself.
I did a charity event for them, but you're going to think I'm a bit of a loon ball now. I ran from Scarborough like an elongated loop of 72 miles for them.
Yeah, you're mental.
I raised £3,700.
Mate, yeah.
Honestly,
that's brilliant.
I know. Well, the thing is, because like I say, I have OCD, ADHD, and acute depression, and one of the hardest things is trying to stay positive. And when I have to set myself these crazy goals, and like I'll show you a picture later on how big I was, but obviously the running side of it. Physical fitness, gym, which I watch your stories. You go boxing, you do your train, you do your running. Do you think that's
mate? There's a number of reasons. There's a number of reasons why exercise is a must. First off, anyone out there that's got negative thinking, right? If they're like, I can't take it anymore, life isn't going well, that you're on a constant downer. Anyone that's head's gone, the biggest thing for me is there's a number of things why exercise is the one, and it's because one. When you wait for big wins, you need wins in life, right? Yeah. And when you wait for big wins in life, like the money, the house, the wife, the kids, the awards, the pay rise, the job title, when you wait for them in life, they might not come, man. And they're few and far between, right? So you're not waiting the big win. While you're waiting for the big wins, what you're actually doing is accumulating losses, right? And with exercise, it's a tiny little win every day.
Absolutely.
It's like a little win, and you get that win, and then you add them together every single day, and they accumulate into looking a little bit different, feeling a little bit different. Plus, if you're anything like me and him, and you like a buzz, you get the dopamine, don't you?
Yeah, it's the dopamine's very important.
But I'm a firm believer that as like animals, right? We'll ask the geek because he knows. What
she's looking up right now.
What are we? What? No, I was going to ask. What were we back in the day when we were chasing like saber-toothed tigers? What were we called back then?
Neanderthals.
Yeah, well, we're a different species to Neanderthals, but like Homo erectus. Yeah, well,
Homo erectus. Sorry, slow down. Jesus Christ!
That's my nickname at the swimming club.
I don't know what you evolved from, but it sounds well gay. Not joking.
So we have those like dispositions. So do you know Dr. Rhonda Patrick?
Not personally, but
okay. But she's like the gal on this. So she says vigorous exercise forces the muscles to produce lactate, which then travels to the brain, triggering the production of key neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine,
melatonin, noradrenaline, epinephrine.
Basically, it's like the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, and but my point being, going back to when we was Homo erected, right, is that listen, what you've got to imagine, and I'm a firm believer of this. What you got to imagine is back in the day, right, when we were like when there was dinosaurs. Were we around when there was dinosaurs? Because I'm going on a tangent.
It depends if you're a fundamentalist Christian, because they believe we were. I don't.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Are you a flat earther?
Say again,
Are
sorry.
you a flat earther?
Flat earther. Do you believe the earth is flat?
No, I believe it's hollow. There's a difference.
We've gone off on a tangent.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Anyway, but put it this way, right? When we were chasing down, like, when we had to hunt or we were being hunted, right?
Like wildebeest and
Well, yeah,
buffaloes.
all of that stuff when we were being hunted, right? This is what I think is a massive, massive cause of depression and the state that us men are in, right? We're hunters and gatherers, right?
Absolutely.
We're meant to be out there, like, killing animals. Vegan's going to hate this bit, but we're meant to be out there. We're meant to be out there eating vegan sausage rolls. No, we're meant to be out there killing animals, or we're getting chased. Now, listen, our body is designed, right? So when we're getting chased, we get the adrenaline, we get the anxiety, right? The anxiety is like, there's something around here. Then the adrenaline pumps in and the fear, and then we go, right? And then the exercise burns all that off, right?
Yeah.
The exercise, the running, and then it gets replaced with your dopamine and all of that jazz, right? But now what do? We sit on our asses, right? We ain't getting chased, yeah? And all of the anxiety and all of the threats comes from the news, comes from my phone. You're scrolling and it's going, you're going to lose money on your house. Your crypto's gone. Da-da-da-da-da. So-and-so, da-da-da, the government. And it's all like, it's constant negativity, right? House prices are going up. Cost of living prices are going up. Your fucking missus is leaving you. You lost your business in lockdown. Da-da-da. All of these threats and anxiety inducing. Your mind is scanning. What's the problem? You've got the fear, and if you don't burn it off and replace it with your dopamine and stuff like that, you are just stuck in a state of panic, fear, and depression.
Well, the thing is, when actually, because I've done a lot of studies, especially into when it comes to about the mind and neurological and stuff like that. When you're actually depressed or when you're suffering with depression, your body releases cortisol, and cortisol obviously it attacks your body. But the first thing it attacks, right, is your immune system. And when it attacks your immune system, so you start feeling a little bit lethargic, you feel a bit unwell, you'll have a drink, all this like outer environment, negative crap coming on, and because you're unwell, you're getting into a vicious cycle here.
Wait, what's it called?
Cortisol.
Right.
Cortisol. So when
you're stressed,
and you're suffering with stress and anxiety, your body releases cortisol. And obviously, to be honest, do you drink Lucid?
sometimes.
Lucid's a stimulant for cortisol.
Really?
Yeah, not many people know. And if you do know that, obviously put it in the comments, because 100%, I used to drink Lucid every single day. And obviously now I've changed my life around. The amount of stuff I've learned, for the body. And this is why, I'm motivational therapist. My programs is to get people to understand what they're putting in their bodies. No processed crap, no, obviously vegans will love me, no processed meat. So, but apart from that, when you look into it, Dan, the body, neurologically, when, say, we do cold water therapy or anything, your exercise, dopamine release, serotonin release, melatonin release. And it's when I tell people to, going on to it, to avoid taking antidepressants, is because, say you're a bodybuilder, you take testosterone, obviously, and that's a replacement for where testosterone comes from. But when you stop taking it, remember, your body has stopped producing it because it used to get a source somewhere else. So when you're on antidepressants, there are, say, sertraline is a serotonin one. You take that, it releases serotonin. After 2 weeks, it's all fine and dandy. But try coming off them. Honestly, you have to wean off them, right? And I was getting pains in my neck and twitching on the night and shaking in my bed. I thought I didn't know what was going on with me. So I looked into what other methods could create serotonin release, Dan, and cold water therapy.
Yeah.
100%, mate.
Yeah.
Exercise, going to the gym, challenging yourself, little instrumental goals, putting more effort into yourself, and then just obviously pushing it as much as you possibly can.
I'm with you on all of that. And do you know what the mad thing is? People will listen to it and go, people out there will listen and go, my life is shit. I'm depressed and down, and you're telling me you're going to fix my life by me going for a run, having cold dips and eating better. Yes,
100%.
Yeah, because listen, if first off, it's mad, right? I've got people around me right now that I know that are depressed, they're down, and I'm hearing the same things at the same times in the week and the same stuff and and I'm like, if you take alcohol and drugs out of the equation,
100%.
Oh my God, your life is going to change, right? And then on top of that, if you add the exercise and that, I just spent the weekend in Blackpool, right? Horrible place.
As you know, I nearly got E. coli for swimming in the sea because there was a toxic release a couple of weeks back.
Mate.
I was swimming it was all frothy actually because I do cold water dips, and it was all in my mouth. I was thinking, what's that? And then somebody sent me a link, said, have you seen what's happened in Blackpool? You swimming in the sea? And I was like, no, what's happening? Oh, there was a sewage leak, mate. E. coli.
Blackpool is it's like the set of Jeremy Cole, mate. Your
tickets on sale now.
I'm going to Blackpool. Oh, by the way, I love Blackpool. No, I'm joking, but I do jest. It was quite funny though, because I had my daughters and I was taking my daughters along the beach, along the promenade or whatever, up to the pier, and it's about 4:00 in the afternoon, and everyone was smashed, mate, you know, and there was and it was raining, and it's been horrible weather, and there was like Mario, someone dressed up as Mario on the beach, passed out, and Eve was like, "Daddy, what's wrong with Mario?" I'm like,
got him.
he's going through some right now. Do you know what I mean? But
the princess has left him.
yeah. But no, but listen, I was what I wanted to say is, I had a 5-hour drive up there, right, and a 5-hour drive back. Now, the old me a year and a half ago, I would have been like, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do the drive. And then also walking around, I would have been like, right, are we having a drink? What pubs are we going to? Da 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 da. And then it would have been like, I would have got a bit like stressed throughout it. Oh man, I had the most loveliest drive up there for 5 hours, chatting rubbish, listening to the two girls chatting absolute nonsense. I mean, they kicked off a couple of times. Me and the missus were talking. She was reading the women's magazines, the stories and that. The greatest weekend, man. You know, didn't touch a drop of drink, obviously, nothing like that. I went out for a meal, and all weekend I was sitting there, I was thinking, man, I ran 11k along the beach, and I was like, man, I'm just so happy at the moment, you know, and.
It's, you know what the thing is, it's that contentment that you found.
It's contentment.
And I always actually say to people, is like, when you can use this like metaphor in anyone. You have contentment, which is obviously midway. You have depression, and you have happiness. And what a lot of people strive for, because they're always in a little bit just below contentment, they want happiness. Now, what I've found out is if you strive for happiness consistently and you never get it, it's a letdown.
Yeah.
You feel shit. It's like, oh, I want to get to there. It's like buying a new car. You save up, you're saving up, Dan, you're saving up. You buy the car. After 2 weeks, what's it feel like? Done it.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, strive for contentment, because then if you're content, like I've had a lot of trauma going on recently, and it drops down. It's like, I can't believe it, and then I get back to contentment, and then I'm in the mediocre place where it's like, happiness is hard work. Yeah. Trying to get happiness. These people like Tyson Fury, multi-millionaire, and he suffers with depression. Yeah. So when I say to people, nobody's immune to it, no matter who they are, like no matter where you've come from, you're not immune to depression, you're not immune to feel lonely or abandonment. But I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to reiterate as many times as I can, stopping the drugs, stopping the alcohol, focusing on you. And one of the beautiful things that you've just said is where traveling up and actually remembering them moments. Yeah. You're like, well, the kids are in the back, because I have my kids 4 nights a week now, by the way, just to point out there.
I love that.
And it's I have them weekends and like Monday to Wednesday, do school runs, I have them and teach them.
I bet you're so happy.
Honestly, like you, from where I was to where I am now, and helping people, and you'll get messages, and I've got loads I can show you where it's like, you've said something which triggered me to change, and I appreciate your motivational messages, and it's so uplifting to be able to like look where we was, and then think to myself, just through exercise, cold therapy, watching what I eat, and you know when you're saying about your friends, or you have some people, like I say, who are very negative. What I've always noticed is, I give people free chances. Now, this is one of the things I want somebody to take off, if anything. I always say to somebody, I'm very honest, I'm like, when they don't listen to me, or they're creating misery, or creating any sort of emotional, like, sort of distraction for me, and after I've helped them, and I go, like, why haven't you changed? I've told you what to do. This is the best advice. Oh, you know, it's just out. Well, this is one of your warnings, mate. This is one of your warnings. Like, you've got 2 more. And it's like, I've even got people who are very close with me, like, who I've worked with and stuff like that, and they're on their last chance. And they think I won't cut them out. I blocked my brothers for 2 years. Literally, like, I felt as if there was no support. I felt as if there was against me. But we all get on really well now. We have to, because my mum's got dementia. We work really well together. But I blocked them for 2 years.
But that is harsh. But is that to work on yourself?
That's because through you trying to help them, it's actually destroying you. Absolutely, because a lot of men are very emotional, which they don't like to admit it, but because they don't know how to express it. But when somebody's constantly nagging on you, or somebody makes you feel bad, or you go to your friend and basically say, if I came to you and I was like, oh Dan, I'm struggling a little bit, and you was like, yeah, but my life's my life's this and my life's that. I'm like, and you're not listening to me. You know, like I'm struggling here, and you're selfish. You've got an expectation for me to be here to make you feel better, so you can tell me your but I have to suffer for your happiness. Yeah, I get it, man. So I get it. That's why free chances, mate. It's like baseball. Yeah, 3 strikes and you're gone. I get it. I think that look, that's real tough, but I'm with you on it, because I think
anyone that's listening to this, anyone that's struggling out there, sometimes we can go, oh my God, we're all on our own because we can't talk to our friends, right? Because your friends, one, they might be going through their own, or they don't want to hear it. You don't really have a good enough relationship with your family, and you can't talk to your missus. The big one, not being able to talk to our partners and our missus and stuff like that as men, is because it makes us feel like we're not the provider, we're not strong, right? So that's why men are in such a predicament. But I'll tell you something now that will change your life. And I've done it, the first time I actually done it was for anger management back in the day, but you can get a certain amount of free sessions on the NHS for counselling. It takes a long time. Yeah. But talking is the, I know it's another one of them wanky things, but talking is the key, right? Absolutely. Because for you were right, and so was I. Like, we was in a bad place where we couldn't understand why everything was a mess. We were drinking and using drugs to try and feel better. We destroyed all the relationships around us, and we were burying our head in the sand, and then all the problems were coming. We weren't up dealing with the problems. We buried our head in the sands. But now what we've learned is, right, treat ourselves better and talk, man. Try and work out why. Like, you can look back and you can see why. Like,
I accept all the accountability.
Yeah.
Everything.
So do I. But what I mean is, I can, through my counselling, I can look back and go, oh, right, that's why I behaved. Because that happened to me when I was younger, and that maybe that's why I behave the way I do or cope with life the way I do. The thing is with us lads is accountability is hard. That's a big one. Like, there's so many lads that I know right now that are destroying their lives and going through, and it is definitely not their fault, according to them. Do you know what I mean?
If the thing is, when you see that, because I have very similar. The missus are always arguing with them. They're always having a go at me. They're always this, and I'm like, what time did you get in that weekend? Oh, no. What time did you get in that weekend? Well, 5 o'clock. So what did you do on the Sunday?
What did you do with the kids?
Yeah, what did you do with the kids? It's like, well, I'm entitled to a night out. Oh, yeah, but your family. It's like, your missus loves you to pieces. Honestly, this is stuff I've regretted for a long time, because I was that person. Yeah,
me too.
And I'm like, your kids are missing out, mate. Like, you know.
But for me, on that, there is two sides to that coin. Sometimes lads are in a relationship with a woman that's an absolute.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then they don't want to be there. Yeah. And if that is the case, stop burying your head in the sand, right? And for the kids, get out.
Commit to leave.
Yeah, right. Commit to leave. But if you love your wife or your missus, but you're arguing because you're not there, you might have an addiction, mate. You might, because if it comes to the end of the week and you're picking that over spending the weekend with your kids, but then after you've done it, you're like, why am I doing this? Then you've got a problem.
That's one of the things, actually, I like to point out is, like, do you feel bad after drinking? Like, when you've got drunk and on the weekend and afterwards, when you wake up, do you regret it? And it's like, well, yeah, I do. You've got a problem then, mate. Yeah. You've got a problem. Because if you regret doing something...
And you keep doing it.
Then that's... The thing is, though, that goes into subconscious, obviously, prediction addictions. Because when you do something, which is just like a subconscious action, when you're doing it so much, it becomes subconscious. It's like breathing. Yeah. Like, so every weekend you're going out, you get drugged off, you get pissed, and you do all that. It becomes a habit. And that's one of the things, right? It takes 12 months to 3 years to break a habit. And like I say, well done, by the way, for your years.
Thank you.
No drinking. I've done it since 2021.
Wow. So love that. Well done.
Thank you. And when I say to people, like, you've got to change the subconscious, because that's the problem. And when I tell people, it's like, you've got to listen to hypnosis. You've got to obviously listen to, like, different stuff. You've got to look into yourself. You've got to read. Knowledge is wisdom, mate. Knowledge and wisdom is power. I don't care what anybody says, because one of the things which somebody mentioned to me is like, why do you always listen to audiobooks? I'm dyslexic, obviously. It's hard for me to read. Like, I'll read it backwards or something. So I listen to audiobooks, and they always say, why? I go, because there's no way on this planet, like, in the last 100 years, nobody has suffered what I've suffered. So somebody has wrote about it. Somebody has like put it on paper. So I know if I read every single thing obsessively or listen to every single thing, I'm going to come across it and go, wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And look, let's just have it right. The truth is, how you feel out there can change. You can change how you feel, right?
Absolutely.
You can change how you feel. And that was the point about this Blackpool weekend. In the rain, as derelict as it's looking in the day, with
You're going to get exploited.
with the state of some of the stag and endos and the 5-hour drive either side, I absolutely loved it because I'm just in such a better place, so you can get there. How are we doing for time? How long have we been going, mate?
We've been going for 50 minutes.
Right.
We better wrap it up soon, but I just wanted to just go back, rewind a second. That book, David Goggins, tell me about that. Because I might, what's it called?
It's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Because he's a nutter, that geezer,
Oh,
isn't
do
he?
you know what? One of the most inspirational people, and like I don't know if I've mentioned it, if I've mentioned it already. I met him in Birmingham. I messaging him, contacted him, and I said to him, I was like, David.
What did he reply on?
On Instagram. He replied to me because he actually put me on his story saying, Carl Crowley, the running man from the UK, he put something like making waves for the charity scene. And that's when I ran the 72 miles because I was like, he sort of gave me the boost. But I met him and he signed my leg. He signed my leg, right? I got it tattooed on my leg. I know people are going to call me sad.
No, man, we've got to have our idols.
Yeah.
There's not enough male masculine or masculine role models,
yeah,
man.
absolutely. And mate, he's overwhelming. He stopped and spoke to me, like, well, obviously we're speaking now, but he actually said to me, signed my leg, and he was going, right, after I've done all these photos, wait for me, I want to talk to you. And I was like, oh shit, what have I done? You know? Yeah. And so while he did that, I quickly drove off in Nottingham, got it tattooed, and I was sat in like this waiting room, and I thought, he's not going to come. You know, like, he's not going to come and talk to me. I'm a geek, man. Nobody's going to talk to me. And the next minute it's like, hey, crazy motherfucker. And I was like, oh shit. This is like my idol. Like, what's going on? Bit starstruck. When I first met you, it was like that. And
bit different, but I was off me nut. But I was pissed when I was asking you for bugle. He was trying to help you. Yeah, go on.
And when and like I say, he was like, when I met him, that for me proved something, which obviously I want everybody to take from this. Is like, I never thought I'd be sat opposite you, mate, having this conversation, obviously, on a podcast. I never thought I'd have over 9 diplomas, mate. I never thought I'd meet David Goggins. I never thought I'd run 88 miles last year in a 24-hour running event. These things I look at now and I'm like, how the hell am I doing that? But one of the things I am going to say is, like, you know, the negativity, which obviously we all get, mate. I've had it. And if you read David Goggins, it talks about something called a cookie jar, and it's like, it's a pissed off, the way he says it's like, if you're ever pissed off and you're worried about something and you're running, because body only goes up to 40%. He says, pull a memory out the cookie jar. When somebody said something or somebody did something to you, pull that memory out, look at it, remember it, and use that. He said, obviously I don't want to swear, but he says, use that motherfucker. Obviously keep on pushing and then put it back away and use it later on. And honestly, he talks about the body, he talks about, because he went through racism, he went through obviously a lot of problems as he was younger, because he was overweight, like 240 pounds, and they wouldn't let him in the Navy SEALs unless he lost a certain amount of weight. Mate, one of the most inspirational guys I've ever come across in my life. But from that point, I acknowledge now that from doing everything, from being sat in front of you in your presence, because you're an inspiration to me, mate. Let me just point that out. I know that you can do whatever you want.
I love that.
You can do, honestly, I promise you, like, I've done so many studies, I've looked into epigenetics, I've lost the weight, I've got the diplomas, I'm running every single day. And one of the things when people say to me is like, I ain't seen you in a while. It's like, yeah, because I'm in the grind, man. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm pushing it. Like, I'm really pushing it. So if you don't see a story, it's like, it's not because I'm upset, it's not because I'm down, it's because I'm running, I'm studying, I'm doing my degree, I'm pushing, I've got my own business. Like, I'm mortgage free next year.
Wow.
41, mortgage free next year. When people say, how have you managed to do that? Are you selling Bugle? No, I'm not. I'm not selling anything like that. I've just got my own gas company. I work really, really hard. I have my kids 4 nights a week. I don't go out drinking. So instead of going out drinking, what do? I work, mate. Push into it. Obviously, I'm in partnership with some cold therapy companies where I give them a link code. I get paid for that. Yeah. And I just get everything into everything. Man. So like going back from where we was and to now, mate, like, I can see how well you're doing, and I want to say it to everybody. Like, I hated who I was, and I mean it, Dan, like, from the bottom of my heart. Like, the amount of traumas, my girlfriend dying, walking into my best mate who took his own life, going through it all. I hated me. Like, I used to look in the mirror. I went through 4 weeks when I got my kids back, and I was allowed on one day. I covered all my mirrors. That's how depressed I was. Covered all my mirrors. I couldn't see my own face. That's how bad it was. But like now, I open my mirrors because I've got a little note, but obviously I don't let my kids read this because they're too young. But a little note, and it says, "Today could be your last, pal. Don't waste it." Every single day, brushing my ugly pegs, and I'm like that. And
I love that.
So, and you've got to, mate. If you don't tell yourself how amazing you are, there might not be anybody out there that's going to do it. So like, even though you could have a big social media following and people obviously give you that like acknowledgement and the love and stuff like that,
it's worthless.
Yeah, it's worth. Like if you can't sit on your own, you can't sit on your own.
you can see that from the Hollywood, all the superstars out there that we've lost or that couldn't handle life because they just didn't like themselves.
Yeah. One of the things, actually, one of my mates, I'm going to quickly tell this because I know we want to be wrapping up in a minute. I went to, I've been on holiday on my own 3 times so far. I go on holiday on my own all the time, and I go for a meal. There's a place called El Toro's. I always go there, sit on my own. And my mate rang me and he went, "What you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just having something to eat." And he was like, "Who are you with?" And he went, "You with a bird?" I was like, "No, I'm on my own." He went, and he called me a CUNT. He went, "You sad?" And I went, "Do you know what is sad?" I went, "The fact that you rang me to take the piss out of me because I'm on my own, but yet you're the pathetic CUNT that would need somebody to hold your hand and come here."
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh, mate, you're just out of order." I went, No. Like, you're ringing me to take the piss, but look at you. You can't even go anywhere without somebody holding your hand.
Yeah.
And then I blocked him.
Oh, mate, you just plough through friends. Yeah, have you got any friends left?
Yeah, mate, I've got loads. I have got
just
loads
good
of
ones.
friends. Yeah, because surrounding yourself with the positive and like people who obviously do drugs and go out drinking, I avoid, mate. And it's no disrespect to them. I'll let me just point out, because they will probably see this. I love them to pieces.
Yeah.
They're like, I've grew up with them. I'll always be there if they truly need me.
Yeah.
But if they're not willing to change and upgrade their life, and they just want to stay how they are, that's not for me.
Mate, yeah, I think there's so much power, and it takes a long, long time to get to the point. There's so much power with being so confident with yourself and who you are that you can let people go.
Yeah.
Like that was a massive thing for me, because I disliked myself deep down inside, and I was so to myself that I actually used to people please people that were treating me like I used to be like, take the piss out of me, mug me off, use me for money, use me for work, for networking, use me just as long as you like me. As long as you like me, though, you do like me. Now I'm just like, I'm not as brutal as you, but I want to be more strict, because also you've got people that are around you. Recently I had someone that stopped being my friend very quickly after quite a trivial thing, and I saw something that popped up online that really spoke to me. And it's like, if a friend stops being your friend over something quite trivial, they never were.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
They never were. There is so many people in our lives that we can cling on to, that we think are our friends, that actually are they?
No.
I'll tell you what a friend is. A friend is someone, and I've got a lot of these, someone that can point out the things that you're doing that are bad for your mental health and well-being, right?
Yeah.
That check in on you to see if you're all right. That take the piss out of you, but in the same breath will ask, are you all right? And this is a tough one, people that you feel comfortable telling good news to. Because I didn't have many of them.
Yeah. When you'll always discover somebody actually on what you're saying is if you tell somebody that you've just done well or you're doing well, and they just go, "Oh." It's like, well, women, are you celebrating with me? Because technically we're all friends, aren't we? Yeah. But then what I've noticed is a true friend will watch you like, "I'm proud of you, mate. Let me just point out." And when you do well, I'm like, "Mate, he's a mate." And I cannot speak to you for like months or years. And then I'll send you, like, I've sent you a message before, "How are you doing, Dan?" And you've replied back, and it's like, that's a good mate.
Yeah.
You're just always just like, "Nice, you doing all right?" And it's just positivity.
Yeah.
But it's when you've got them friends, and they make you feel like, they're not friends, man.
Yeah.
They have an expectation for you to be there, to make them happy. And what you'll notice, mate, half the time, as soon as you walk away, they're slagging you off.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk away.
It's very difficult as well when you get into the mindset, I'm conscious of the time, but it's very difficult when you get into the mindset of bettering yourself. It can come across as like you think you're better than other people, and maybe you should think that. Maybe you should not
egotistical.
You shouldn't think that you're better than other people. What I mean is you should put yourself first. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't worry what other people are going to think, right? And I think that's a real tricky thing for anyone out there that's on this journey of like well-being and better mental health, is when you really start putting yourself first, you're going to lose people 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's it, man.
And when you change like that, mate, a lot of people, they'll either turn against you or support you. And when they turn against you, it's because you're outgrowing their expectations of then, like, they expect you to be. So, like, I remember him being this way, I remember him being that. But when you start changing, it makes them feel inadequate.
Yeah.
So because, like, you're doing well and you're looking well and you feel good, it makes them feel inadequate. So then they turn against you and secretly just like, "Oh, yeah, I know this about him. I know that about him." And I just think to myself, do you know what? Like, the only person who could ever crush me is me now.
And if someone's trying to bring you down, that's because you're moving up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's right. And we're coming across as like a couple of housewife now. But I saw Snoop Dogg talking about that. Snoop Dogg. There was some viral video of him, and he was saying, look, when you start going like that and you start rising, the people that you leave down here, if they don't work to keep up with you, you're going to leave them. It's
they cling on to your ankles and try and pull you down, and then
crabs in the bucket.
Yeah,
that's it. But then they'll remind you, oh, don't forget you did this, don't forget you did that, and I'm like, I punish myself enough. Why the hell do I need you to give me that shit?
Yeah.
Well?
And listen, like you've just embraced. I embrace it now. You know, there isn't a person on this planet that hasn't made mistakes. The only difference between two people that have made mistakes is one person might pretend they haven't and try and forget about it and just get, or the person, which I aspire to be, that uses their mistakes, that can wear them and use them to better themselves. Everything you've been through has put you in the position you're in.
A mistake is only a mistake if you never learn from it. It turns into a lesson as soon as you change.
And we're going to finish on that, John. That was beautiful. I'll tell you what. I'm not even just saying this. I've done nearly 50 podcasts. That was one of my most favourite podcasts.
Oh man, nice one. Thank you.
I'll tell you why it was my favourite, because we just connected. The communication, right? Your story it started off. It really broke my heart, and I could tell it broke your heart. But this is what it's all about. Like the pain and suffering, how you've used that. And I just love how your face lit up when you said that you see your kids, you know, you do the school runs. We're them twats that actually like school runs, innit?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, I'm a dill fatty, so I just go.
Yeah, you're on the school run.
Walking that, it's like, I've lost all 7 stone, I look all right now.
Like, do you like the new hairline, ladies?
I'm still only 5'6", but don't worry about it.
But listen, I'm going to say it. I'm super proud of you, mate.
Thank you.
I'm
honestly,
super proud of you.
Likewise.
And I'm going to put all your socials up. But what's your Instagram in case anyone wants to get in touch with you?
Carl Crowley verified. Carl Crowley verified. I'm now on the club, up and coming. So, but like I say, motivational therapist. If anybody needs to speak, they can always message me. I do reply, but it's best to contact me via Instagram. Obviously, I've got social media. I've got TikTok. I don't use Snapchat anymore because I think it's for, like, I just don't.
Yeah.
But it's
so dick pics in it, and boob pics.
Yeah, it's. But I'm on TikTok, Carl Crowley Time to Shine. Instagram, Carl Crowley Verified. I'm also on LinkedIn, which you'll be able to get in touch with me.
We'll put them all in the bio.
Right, no
but
worries, mate.
I'm proud of you. I mean
you.
that, and thank you for all the words of wisdom, man.
No, man, you're an inspiration to me. Always have been, always will be.
Thank you, man. That was great, John. Anything you want to add before we sign off?
That was a really fantastic episode. So inspiring to hear how you've been at like the lowest lows and then you just turned it all around, and that's what people can do. And if that's what the one thing people can get from this podcast, that's going to help a lot of people. So thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, lads. Thank you very much. Thank you. And give me the one shot on this one. Am I on that? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this is all about. I'm hyped, man. I'm buzzed. It was emotional at first. It did get me a bit, but such positivity, and this is that has just capsulated what I want this platform to be. Make sure you reach out. All the links are below, and leave us some comments. Leave us some positivity. Tell us what you took from this in the comments section, and also sharing's caring. The algorithm likes to play with this podcast. Some of them are like 200,000 views. Some of them are like 5,000 views because of we're talking about, certain subjects. Yeah, the subjects that we're talking about, I keep on getting the notifications, and it doesn't distribute it well because it's dodgy, drugs, suicide. Oh, I probably shouldn't say it. I need to say things.
Self-deleted.
Yeah. So what words will get it out there, John? We need some words that will get it out there.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Misogyny. Just put misogyny. OnlyFans.
Yeah, something like that. But do me a favour this time. Tell someone about this podcast that you think could use it. I think that was a really powerful one. That was Menace to Sobriety. Thank you for joining us. Hello! We are going to take the Menace to Sobriety to the live stage, and we need a live studio audience to interact with us, to come along, listen, laugh, and learn everything about sobriety, mental health, well-being, and just come along for a night out with like-minded people. We are going to be going live on the 30th of August, 27th of September, 25th of October, and the 29th of November. That's one a month. Get your tickets now. Come down, meet the team, and have some fun. Menace to Sobriety Live, coming soon. Oh yes, and don't forget, if you want to come and see me live and meet me, I'm going on tour. The Daniel O'Reilly Out of Character full UK tour kicks off in January 2024 and tickets are on sale right now. I'm going to try and get out and meet as many of you as possible. And of course, I'm going to be bringing the laughs all over the UK. There's 23 dates right now and I'm adding more all the time. Hit the link in the bio and get your tickets now and come have some fun. If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only, but once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety. Just a menace. Just a menace.